The Oblivion remake was supposed to be good. It was supposed to be a win. It was supposed to be great. But it has issues? What issues? No idea. I assume this is a lie and clickbait, honestly.
Today I get to be that guy, like the little bit of the party pooper, just a little bit, okay? Because I've been loving my time with Oblivion Remaster, and generally speaking, I have very little complaints. But there's two ways of really looking at this video, because again, normally I'm the guy who's like, hey, it's all fine, we're having a good time here, lighten up, would you? So just to make sure that
This is called, by the way, being a contrarian. When everything's good, you bring up the bad things. When everything's bad, you bring up the good things.
the goal of this video is clear. What I'm trying to do is kind of a twofer here. Like, first and foremost, obviously it's about Oblivion Remaster, future patches. What can Bethesda include to make this the best possible product?
Wait, there's gonna be patches? Oh no! Oh no, the reason the Oblivion Remastered is successful is because Bethesda didn't touch it. Oh no! Listen, the only thing Bethesda themselves put into this game is literally body type A and body type B. And we hate it. Everyone hates it, obviously. And now you're gonna tell me Bethesda is gonna make the game better? Is it? It's the end. They're gonna kill. It's over. If Bethesda actually does patches and keeps making the game better, it's gonna be bad. Because you know Todd Howard and Emil are currently, well, they're probably still drunk and, trying to drink their sadness away about this situation. But Bethesda needs this game to not succeed because, again, this spits in their face. This is a direct mockery of modern day Bethesda. The fact that an old game is succeeding and it's not just smoke and mirrors, but it's actually good. It's not some kind of old nostalgia feelings. Todd can't handle it. So what, they're gonna ruin the game now? Is that it?
Product when they walk away from it. But also the secondary objective of this video is, look, they're going to be doing more remasters down the line. If the FTC leak is to be believed, which it has been ironclad for years now, if it is to be believed, then we know there's going to be a Fallout 3 remaster. And I think there's certain creative choices with the Oblivion remaster.
Fallout 3 remaster is happening. That is for sure. Probably it's also planned very soon. Obviously, I think.
That Bethesda made that maybe they could learn a little bit from. So I just want to talk about some of the issues, generally speaking, because this is really the first remaster
Monkey
from Bethesda. It's something they swore off for a while. So for them to step forward into it, I think they've hit a home run for the.
That's not good. And first of all, this is not Bethesda stepping into it. Again, all of these things that are happening, in my opinion, which I think is 100% correct, is it's a push by Xbox. It's a push by Microsoft. Again, I need to say this every time I talk about this because some Bethesda fans are truly brainless fucking morons. When Xbox bought Bethesda, Bethesda has no more say in anything. Xbox says you're doing this. Bam, the Fallout TV show happens. Todd Howard did not want any of these shows. Todd Howard always did not want it. And now, well, what do you know? Microsoft buys it. They're doing a Halo TV series and whatnot. Yeah, they want a Fallout TV show also. Todd Howard and Bethesda can't say no to Microsoft. This is what ownership means. Todd Howard doesn't have magical veto. It's not like you know what veto means. But Todd Howard or Bethesda don't have some magical fucking veto rights to tell Microsoft, no, we're Bethesda and we're not doing that. No. Microsoft owns you. They literally can decide every single thing that happens, okay? All water gets replaced by, slushies. There you go. The Bethesda has no say.
Most part. But I just want to tighten a couple things up, if you will, here. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome.
And by the way, this also is funny because this also means that Microsoft slowly is beginning to understand, wait a minute, Todd Howard's an absolute moron. It's the beginning of the end for Todd, okay?
let's just talk down a couple of the problems that the Oblivion Remaster has. If you're new here and you're into what's going on with Bethesda, I mean, we have a laundry list of videos that I have planned for you, so get subscribed. Thank you for being here. But before we go any further, a quick word from today's sponsor. The following video is sponsored by Opera GX. I know today's video. I want to start off with difficulty, because I think Starfield figured this one out really well.
LOL, no, Starfield was the first game ever. Did you even play it? Oh my god, I'm getting triggered. I'm literally triggered right now. Someone's saying Starfield. Bro, Starfield has no difficulty, okay? When you start the game, you get a weapon with 50 rounds, and to kill an average enemy, you need to spend 30 of them. And if it's an elite mob with 3 health bars, congratulations. That's a 200 bullet damage sponge. And that's the whole game, by the way. Either you one-shot something instantaneously, or you don't, and you just stagger it, and it can't fight against you. There is no difficulty in Starfield. It's a joke.
It was a post-launch update, but I hope as Bethesda releases more games, this becomes just a day one feature for them. Like, if they're going to do a Fallout 3 re-release, I hope that this is something that they plan to do. Some of the conversation around the difficulty with Oblivion has been interesting, because when you crank it up, you start to see what the stats are really like in this game. Like, jumping from Adept, which is your standard difficulty, you do 1 times damage, the enemy does 1 times damage, to Expert, where enemies do like 3 times damage and you do 0.6 times damage. Like, it's really mathed out in a way that feels bad to play. Starfield, like I said, figured it out, where in a patch they basically
what is this figuring out? It's insta-stun the moment it gets hit.
Gave sliders for everything, and they tied those sliders to XP.
What is figured out here? What is this?
Bonuses. I'm not asking for like the full.
And this is not even like a stun build or anything. I don't know if that's even possible, by the way. This is just how the game functions.
Feature set in the case of Oblivion, but like future games such as, say, Elder Scrolls 6, I hope to see everything from like what happens when I rest all the way to when I sleep, all that good stuff. What I'm talking about here is just a slider for my damage and the enemy damage, and just tweaking XP gains on the skills I use during those encounters based on how easy or difficult I've made.
No, this was added because Starfield's difficulty was retarded and Bethesda couldn't figure out a way to make it non-bad.
I think that would solve a lot of problems here, because in Starfield, like, I turned mine to a hardcore shooter, and I had a blast with it that way. I turned up my damage all the way, so if I see you and I pop you, that's it. But their damage...
I have no idea why he's saying that he turned up the difficulty. It still doesn't work like that, okay? At any difficulty in Starfield that you are playing, you are just one lucky drop away from one-shotting enemies for the next 50 levels. That's how the game works.
Which was turned up all the way. So when they saw me, they popped me. It just turned into a much more enjoyable game.
That's not even
I think the sad part is there's already a mod for this. There's already a mod for a lot of the problems I'm going to bring up in this video. But I do hope that Bethesda, at the very least, tweaks the difficulties here in Oblivion so that I could jump up to something like, say, an expert difficulty and have a good time with it, and not be like, Jesus, you have so much health and I do so little damage. This is not fun at all. But also, again, for future re-releases, that sort of slider option would be really cool. Performance is something I've talked about a lot, so I wanted to kind of dial in on a primary gameplay issue and then a primary technical issue I was having with Oblivion Remaster. And the stuttering primarily happens in the open world, but you'll see even in some of my horseback footage that I used in my tips video, the frame rate just gets ridiculous. I don't know what happens when you're on horseback, but it just dials it back.
It's called, this is a Bethesda game. That's what it's called.
A whole lot more. But what I've also noticed is...
I'm surprised, honestly, the movement speed is somehow magically not tied to FPS this time. Or, you know, we are one day of someone discovering it.
Is that I think DLSS is broken. I talked about this as well in my tips video, how when I and a couple other people switched over to FSR and frame generation, the game just started to run way better, where either, again, DLSS is broken or it's just not as effective here. But there's also just crashing, lots of crashes. I've had 3 in about 20 hours. My wife has had 3 in about...
3 in 20 hours is not even that much, by the way.
5 hours on the Xbox Series S. Our editor, Dan, I mean...
Wait. Wait, how many?
effective here, but there's also just crashing, lots of crashes. I've had 3 in about 20 hours. My wife has had 3 in about 5 hours on the Xbox Series S.
Ah, there you go. Well, it's her own damn fault for playing on a fucking Xbox. I mean, it's an Xbox. It's not meant for games. It's designed to be a fridge.
Our editor, Dan, I mean, he has tons of footage to show you on all of his crashes, just crashes upon crashes upon crashes. He's had over 10 since he started. So we're all experiencing, everyone I've talked to is experiencing it. Over on consoles, it's a bit more stuttery. And
the good part is Bethesda's not going to fix that. And when I say they're not going to fix that, this is what I mean. Because this is the Bethesda cycle, as some may call it, and know it from Starfield. Bug happens. Bethesda doesn't touch it for 2 months. A mod comes out fixing the issue. 2 days later, Bethesda breaks the mod by dropping a patch that fixes the issue. Turns out, issue is not fixed. It happens 100% of the time still. Why Bethesda said it fixed it? Don't know. Anyway, a week passes. Another mod gets released to again fix the crashes. 10 seconds later, Bethesda drops another patch fixing the issue. Issue gets resolved 20% of the times now. Well, it's a step up technically. And rinse and repeat until people are so tired of this that no one even knows if the issue is solved anymore. And this is not me making this up. This is literally what Bethesda did with Starfield with the Meteor bug, by the way. Literally, this happened.
in the open world like it runs, but even there, again, occasional crashes. I would love to.
Except no one actually made a patch to fix the thing. Bethesda just claimed 3 times it fixed it, and at this point, no one knows if it's actually fixed because no one plays Starfield. Great shit.
See them tune this in a little bit more, because I know we're all pumped, and I am too. I've made that very clear, but I think this is a legitimate issue that should be tackled ASAP. And I think if it wasn't for all of the nostalgia and the memes and the collective joy we're experiencing, again, not trying to be the balloon popper here, you know how I roll, but I do think this is something that needs to be tackled, not in a level of urgency like, hey, the game's breaking, guys, but again, I did not have many crashes with Starfield. I'm not asking for like a totally sanitized experience like Bethesda gave me there. I think the jank is a big part of the experience, but what you get here in Oblivion Remaster, I think, could be much better on the technical front. So just dialing in the frame rate a little bit more, but also especially dialing in those crashes and significantly reducing them would be great. Because again, you go over to Nexus mods, and what do you know? There's an engine tweak to reduce stuttering, crashing, that sort of stuff. So I would love for Bethesda to just get ahead of their community, because some of the ideas that they put into this remaster were from their own modders with the Oblivion scene. And I don't want to get your hopes up too much when it comes to patches, because there was a quiet patch drop for the Game Pass version of Oblivion Remaster on PC. And you'll see here in this image that they got rid of all the upscaling options in the graphical options menu. And there were people in the replies saying they had a similar issue. So just want to make sure, if there's another sort of remaster from Bethesda, these technical issues, like if you're going to come in and fix it, don't make it worse. I don't really have to spell it out any further than that, though.
Fallout 4 graphical update, the HD texture update, which no one actually can. No one can. It's 50-50 split at this point. When you see the graphical texture update next to the non one, it's a 50-50 split if people can tell which is the real one at this point. And again, this is what Bethesda does. They fuck up everything. This is hilarious. They have ruined. There's a reason modders beg Bethesda, write them letters, and pray to the shrine of Todd Howard that Bethesda just doesn't update their games because they're that bad at it. And this is no different. The Oblivion remake is no different, but you know that Bethesda is pissed, and now they want to make it so they can say, oh yeah, this remake, we made it good. We made it good. So they're going to add up a lot of random shit that no one's going to like so they can brag about, oh, no. We made the game playable.
Another thing, this goes into more creative choices, right? So we talked about a gameplay design thing, a technical thing, a creative choice, a liberation that I think they did a really good job with, but in certain parts of the game, I think they were more liberal with, is the color palette changes. Oblivion was always a vibrant, Jake Baldino described it well, painterly style open world, just lots of green and orange and all these colors everywhere. And Oblivion Remaster still has that. There are pockets of the world that are just rich in color, but there are also pockets of the world that are very devoid of it. And what it's led to is Oblivion feels much more biome diverse, but I do feel like there has been a tone down in color in some interiors even as well, which sucks a little bit of the life out of the game. And so when I think of Fallout 3, for example, my anticipation, as I'll talk about in a separate video, is that they're probably going to dial it more into Fallout 4. And why is that? Because Oblivion got dialed more into Skyrim to kind of bring those in line, to bring in the Skyrim fans to Oblivion. And so I think Fallout 4 being as big as it was, they're going to do the same thing with Fallout 3 fans who...
I think it's just the fact that, the people who made it live in perpetual smog, so,
have missed out on that game or couldn't play it because of the first-person shooting, and dial that world in accordingly on an artistic level. At least based on what I've seen here with Oblivion Remaster, I'm like, they're not afraid to kind of shake up a bit of the visual identity of the game to bring in new fans. Fallout 3, in its case, that kind of green and brown, I don't know if Bethesda's really going to want it to be all of that when they bring it back to us all again. But I think they just need to be a little bit more careful with it, because for the most part, Oblivion has these moments where it is beautiful, particularly when you're in those like dense forests or you're in the snow-capped mountains. That's where I think the game looks its best with the color. So when it strips it away, it feels less like a biome and more like a strange creative choice. And again, there is a mod to adjust these colors. So another place I think it looks really good is Bruma at nighttime. So not really dogging on the visuals, because the uplift, generally speaking, has been great, but just urging a little bit more of a careful approach.
Wait, I really wonder, have these people never actually seen lighting in the night from an open flame? Because this is kind of okay for well, stone, kind of okay, not perfect, but kind of okay at least. But for wood, nah. This is not even close.
The uplift, generally speaking, has been great, but just urging a little bit more of a careful approach when they start to touch up the visuals, because Oblivion, I think you can get away with it a little bit because it is a fantasy world.
Now this looks a lot more believable.
And it still looks and feels
But this is because it's inside. There's no distinction between stone inside and outside.
Sounds like one. Fallout 3, though, at least in my opinion, its atmosphere is so core to that experience. And like Fallout 4 being vibrant is also core to experience because it's a game about rebuilding.
Wait. When you see these like game snippets, I always wonder, who the hell does this? Have these people ever played the games before? Because look at this. Tell me what's the obvious fucking mistake you're seeing here.
Its atmosphere is so...
Yeah. You probably caught it if you have played Fallout. He's using a rocket launcher and batting it into the head. Not torso, but head.
Core to that experience. And like Fallout 4 being vibrant is also core to experience because it's a game about rebuilding, where Fallout 3 is a game about being in the thick of that horror and just trying to find that glimmer of hope in Project Purity. So again, just color palette swaps and desaturation and more saturation, whatever they decide to do. I just urge them to be careful with it, because I think they flew kind of close to the sun, and this is all a new...
The Vendette claws were scary and dangerous.
Exciting thing. So if Bethesda comes in and does another remaster, it's going to be more...
Well, kind of. Again, this is not New Vegas.
Established, more expected, all that sort of stuff. So again, I just think there might be less forgiveness from fans based on what I've seen of the community. So just something to keep in mind. Other things, animation quality. I love that they dialed it in on the third-person animation quality, because I think they would get a lot more players if they hired I have like a very close friend who's like, I cannot play their games because I only like playing in third person. And if they actually looked good animation-wise, that'd be fantastic. But Oblivion Remastered is one of the first they've actually looked at and said, like, I think I kind of want to check that out, because It actually looks good. So they added some new animations. Pretty much all of them, I think, look great, look passable. And then there's the running animation, the Naruto running animation. That's crazy.
Bro, this is not even the Naruto run. This disgusts me.
And if you run up a hill in third person
10 out
while
of 10.
sprinting, yeah, looks a little
Biblically accurate.
funky, and it doesn't work very well, and you end up kind of just hopping up the hill. So something again to just keep in mind here, that the animation,
Well, hopping up the hill is more accurate of actually traversing a hill like this, to be completely honest.
changes are good and welcome, but in the case
Well, to be fair, yeah, I would never traverse a hill like that, okay? This much of a slope on a hill is already kind of problematic. This much, you're not fucking getting that bad boy, if especially there's snowing.
of Oblivion, which I actually like playing more in third person than first person, when you do these animations that are on a level of ridiculousness as the being able to like jog diagonally and just glide across the ground. I feel like Bethesda, and most likely Virtuos with their next remaster, just needs to be careful about some animations and how they interact with the world space, because, and this is no disrespect to the modding community, because I know how much they carry the water here in the BGS conversation, but like it did feel like modder project. Hey, like you got sprinting, like it's, here you go. It is what it is. You know, the function is there. I expect when you have a AAA studio and AAA resources that
I love shooting skeletons with arrows.
this sort of stuff looks a little less funky. But again, this is where I am in a little bit of my nitpick bag, but because a top 3 game of all time of mine is coming up next, it seems, you know, I just gotta be careful, yo.
It's sad when one of your favorite games is Fallout 3, because, I mean, shit, even Fallout 4 is better than 3, okay? Still dying on that hill. Admittedly, a lot of people don't care or are like, yeah, that's a fine choice. Interesting. Anyway, that's pretty much it. That was Mr. Matty Plays. Yeah, Bethesda will sabotage Oblivion Remastered. Is what it is. Bye.